Patrick, Wolves big win in game three and not so much in game four.
No, it was a battle. It was you and I were you gave me you courteously gave me a ride home last night, and we were both kind of of the same opinion that it never seemed like a 2 point game, and even though it ended up being a 2 point game, and they could have miraculously pulled it out, but that was all the bench guys making, Naw and Dante and those guys making shots
Yep.
was the thing that got them back in the game. It was they just you can't give up. You can't hand them the ball as often as you did. What was the offensive rebound total? Some gaudy offensive rebound total, and then 19 turnovers or 21 turnovers or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
The whole first half. My reaction watching game one in Oklahoma City and game two basically was Oklahoma City was getting all the loose balls and getting a high number of offensive rebounds. And then, of course, he changed that completely in game three. One reason there was, no offensive rebounds. There were no rebounds for Oklahoma City in game three was the Timberwolves made all their shots. So that, there was not many to have. But like they were just sloppy. They were a step slow last night, just like they were in Oklahoma City. And then Ant Ant's talking him after the game about he was trying to make the right play. Well, they spent Oklahoma City spends guards SGA with 2.5 players. We guard the Timberwolves guard him with 2 players, sometimes shading another guy. They're doing the same thing with Ant. SGA goes and gets 40. He gets 15. So it was the idea that Ant is in the same ballpark as that guy has kind of been refuted last night, I thought. Didn't you? I don't know.
13 shots in game one and game four as well. Like you're
Yeah.
not going to win if he gets 13 shots, I don't
Yeah.
think.
Well, they got to figure out. You know what is, am I wrong here? The other thing is they're setting, when they play their defense, the Timberwolves are starting to run their offense 32 feet, 30 feet away from the basket. They got them pushed out on the floor
Yep.
when they're starting to run their thing. Connolly, sometimes he's like 2 steps from center court. They're starting their offense at the top of the key. They're running,
Yeah.
SGA is always getting it to the top of the key. And they're running, they're starting 6 feet closer to the basket than the Timberwolves are at all times. And I don't think it's strategy that I think the Timberwolves with this defense are just getting pushed out further on the court. So it's a 24-second clock. You get it over with 18 seconds to go. And you're out there trying to maneuver the first 10 feet uh, for all of a sudden there's 11 seconds on the clock and you're just getting into your offense because of where they pushed you out. They're just better. They're just
Well,
better.
I also think, Pat, because Conley can only play at what, the tender age of 37 so much. I think the thing, too, is you don't have anyone else to handle the ball and run the
Yes,
offense.
yes, that's true.
And you
And
sort of knew that.
he can't play against the athletes that they have.
No, he's too
I
old.
mean, this Williams is fantastic. That Dort is a mean guy, man. He's a hell of a rebounder. If Mike Connolly tries to guard him, Dort will put him in the hospital. And so
Yeah.
I mean, okay, why were they great Saturday night? Because the first 15 shots they took, they made 12 or something. I mean, everything they shot went in. But, Oklahoma City changed their defense a little. They got more aggressive. And, their coach basically said the first 6 or 7 minutes were brutal. He said it was a war, and I think that the Timberwolves kind of thought they could muscle them, but they can't. They can't muscle them. They're just better. And we got to
Yeah.
accept that Saturday night was a one-off when the Wolves played the best basketball in the history of the franchise because they made and the Oklahoma City guys, including SGA and the fellas, were saying we just weren't. They were a little overconfident. They had the same thing happen to them in the Denver series. They got absolutely hammered one game, and then they came back from it. So yeah, I mean they won. They were 68-14. Let's not forget that. So
Yeah, yeah.
anyway,
But when they spent the time, I think it was 5 days between the Golden State series
yeah,
and this one, when Finch sat down and watched that and how they play defensively and said, I got Conley and what else? He had to say, we're in big trouble.
oh yeah,
Like there's
he
no one else to run what you're talking about. And Ant with the ball in his hands consistently is not what you want.
no, and they really don't have a they've and I got news for him. I don't think the little tiny guy is going to be your point guard next year either. Your 5'9" guy, Dillingham.
Dillingham,
He's
well, it's a top
what
10 pick then.
I know. Well, what will they do with him though? If what will they do defensively to him when you're playing a team like this? You got a 5'9" ball handler and they got a 6'6" ball handler. Let's
Yeah.
see that. Let's see that battle. But they do. I mean, it's Connolly in game three when they were making every shot. He got some open shots because they're not too worried about him.
No,
They're guarding Ant with two people, and
no.
they know Connolly can't guard any of their guys. So I don't know. It was it would have been if the they Oklahoma City was lucky they had a couple fouls left, so they could just not give the Wolves a chance to shoot a three. But that would have been the miracle win of all time if they would have somehow won it. Because all night you just never think. I gotta say this too. I think Finchie made a jerk out of himself on the sidelines the first half. Shut up. Start worrying about your own team instead of every call. He talked to Bill Kennedy more than he talked to his own team, for God's sakes. It was a whine-a-thon. And they're not you think they're gonna change their calls because you're sitting there bitching? Just start coaching your team instead of acting like a 12-year-old kid whining and they here's the other thing I'm thinking. You're paying what are you paying now for a seat? $200 probably. That's if you're coming.
More than that, maybe. I don't know.
Enjoy the is it really enjoyable to just sit there and boo all night? I mean, why don't you watch the game? Why don't you admire the game instead of this guy's great? What do you want to sit there and just boo every time? I mean, basketball creates this obviously with all the whistles that there are. But
Yes.
is it really enjoyable to just sit there and complain the whole night? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Just oh LeBron, let's boo LeBron. Yeah, okay, the greatest player ever. Let's boo LeBron. I don't quite get it, but
I just wish in the playoffs they would stop yelling at me to make noise. That's all I wish.
yes, yes,
It's the
yes.
playoffs. Fans will make noise. Don't
Yeah,
worry
they're
about it.
gonna
I
make
don't need one
noise.
guy telling me to
They're
put a
gonna
t-shirt
make
on and make
noise.
more
Oh
noise.
yeah. I the pregame screaming just drives me
They
crazy. But
berate people for a half hour to put
I
their damn
know.
white t-shirts on.
Well, plus the other thing is, why do we have a T-shirt throwaway when everybody has a T-shirt? We gave everybody a T-shirt. There's 19,000. We don't have to shoot off and these idiots. I said to a couple of guys sitting next to me last night, I said, "What are you up here waving your hands for? You got a T-shirt. They gave you a free T-shirt. Plus that cannon doesn't shoot this high." So sit down and act like an adult. I didn't tell them that, but 40-year-old guys waving their hands to get a T-shirt. You got a T-shirt when you came
I
in.
never thought of that.
Hey, hey, and what a great novel idea. A whiteout. Oh, let's have a whiteout. Like every other team in the playoffs. What's wrong with coming in and wearing your clothes and having a good old time? wear your Timberwolves T-shirt that you bought. Here's the other thing. These guys come in their jerseys and they make them put a T-shirt over their
I
jersey.
know, that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
They pay hundreds of dollars or whatever
yes.
it is for a jersey, and then
Now
this
they
guy in
cover
the
it up.
berate you to put on a damn T-shirt
Do,
that probably costs $4 or $2 to make.
do our Wild? I can't remember. Do our Wild do a T-shirt giveaway too
No,
of any kind? They don't. Good.
they
They're
put
smart.
towels. They put
Okay.
towels,
Oh, okay. Pals
which you
there.
also
Pals.
hate. But I prefer a towel to a T-shirt.
Oh, I do too. I do too. Because I mean, I got my aunt jersey, as you say. I just paid $2.80 for it. Now I got to wear some stupid $1. How many?
That's
What are
yeah,
we
you're
gonna
right.
do? You think there's a tariff on these T-shirts? Because I can guarantee you they aren't being made in the United States of America. These are being made in some backwater place in Malaysia where they're making 12
Well,
cents an hour.
if there's a tariff, we'll find out soon.
Yes, that's
The
true.
price of tickets will go up.
That's true. But they are losing in 5 games to a better team than they lost to in 5 games last year. They played
Yes.
very poorly. They played very poorly against Luka and Kyrie. I think they were kind of worn out from the 7 game fight with Denver. But this is a really good team, and they're 9 deep. And the thing about it is, they were, you know, SGA. They're really guarding him with 2 guys. They're shooting they made all their open threes, you know, and of course the Wolf shot. What they end up shooting, like 50% or something. I mean, because
Last
of the
night they
yeah,
shot 51.2%.
yeah,
OKC shot 50.5, and on three-pointers, the Wolves were at 43.9. OKC 43.2.
yeah. That was,
Shooting was
I
very
mean,
even.
yeah, the shooting, but all the shooting came from the guys that came off the bench, basically.
Yeah.
So
Well, and you
anyway.
cannot turn the ball over that many
No,
times.
no, that's true. That's true. I don't know. It was, it turned out to be a lot closer game than I thought it was, and but 2 very eventful nights because that thing Saturday was the damnedest thing I've ever seen. It was
Oh,
just
it's nuts.
they were great. They were great that night, but you know, it's there's nothing wrong. Hey, what makes sports wonderful? Unpredictability. That's
Yeah.
what it makes. That's what makes it great. Uh,
I thought game 4 was a lot of fun to watch.
yeah.
Like game 3 from a watching standpoint it was done. But game
Mhm.
I
I mean, if it was fabulous for like a first half. Was like,
yes.
what is going on
But
here?
as
But
far as like we needed a close game. It was
mhm.
3 blowouts essentially. So I thought that last night's game was a lot of fun.
It's been an incredibly high scoring series. I mean, I guess Oklahoma City wants to. If you want to try to outscore them, they're probably going to beat you. But so I went to their press conference. That coach of theirs is a pretty impressive guy. He's not a. I don't know how much ranting he does on the sidelines. I mean, he'll get into them once in a while,
Right.
but he's a different kind of cat. He's like a intellect,
Yeah.
and he basically, they were saying, you got the 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 questions now you get from the media, and the people who are traveling along with the team from TV and stuff are just, they try to put the words in your mouth questions. And Dana was asked, this reporter from Canada said, well, what did you learn about your team tonight coming back from game 3? And he said, I didn't learn anything. I knew, I've been around them. They're a resilient bunch.
Right.
I didn't learn anything.
Right.
Almost stood up and applauded when he said that. So,
I
yeah,
think I think the problem is once game 3 was done and the Thunder had lost by 42 points. I
yes.
think we think, "Oh my god, they're going to be completely flustered. This
Yeah,
is it for them."
yeah,
I think pro teams
yeah.
lose by
Probably
12, lose by 2,
that's
lose by
that's what he
42, it's done.
that's what he said. We didn't change anything. We
Yeah.
just did what we did and said, "Boy, did we stink last night. Let's
Yeah.
let's go back to being the team that won 68 games," which they
Correct.
did. and won games 1 and 2. So,
But we think of it as, well, they lost by 42. They're never
oh
going to be the
God,
same.
yes, yeah, and I think maybe football where you play, 16 times or something. It's you can draw more into it, but I mean. The Timberwolves, we kind of said, how did they lose that to team? These clunkers, and they had all these clunkers this year, but they really didn't matter because
No.
they were who they were, and they once they had to win, they're gonna be better. They're pretty good, but they're not good enough for these guys. You know what's funny though? I was talking with somebody, and the Knicks are gonna get beat tonight. It's gonna be 3-1. The Knicks are gonna lose in 6 maximum, but you're gonna get Indiana and Oklahoma City. It'll be the least watched NBA final ever, but it could be
It'll
fantastic.
be good. Yeah.
Yeah, because Indiana's really young and talented
Yep.
and athletic, and it's going to be. And if they let them beat each other up like they're letting them beat each other now, it is incredible how like Holmgren jumps up and he basically hits. Who was it, Nas or who was the when they reviewed the Holmgren
Julius.
foul? Julius, and he hits him in the head coming down, but he went up straight. So you can hit them on the way down. Then is that right? When you go up straight,
I guess so. That's what they said.
this whole this whole thing about uh, review is awful. It's just terrible in basketball because every time they go back and review a foul, well, there's 2 guys running into each other, and for 100 years you just decided who you
Right.
thought was responsible, but.
Right.
Remember baseball a basketball in its infancy is not supposed to be a contact sport.
We're
It's
going
incredible.
backwards, man. This,
It's incredible what it is now. It's Neanderthal. It's unbelievable.
yeah, two things that feel like they've come back are the physical contact allowed more so now,
Mhm.
and 2 point shots.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Some point, yeah, that's right.
Like we're seeing
But
more
they,
short range, mid range.
I mean, they let it get completely out of hand with the bad boys in that
Yeah.
collection where they used to, a guy, you know, what was it? Was it Rambus that did the 1 arm thing and knocked the guy down? And I think he shot 2 free throws or something like that. Back then, they used to, they'd get a guy in a headlock and punch him, and it'd be 2 shots, you
Yep.
know. But so I don't know. It was fun beating Golden State, and it was fun beating the Lakers, but there's no similarity between those teams in this one.
Here's my
Okay.
question then: how long are the Thunder going to be the dominant team in the Western Conference?
Until they have to pay everybody. But they are right now. Well, the Williams kid and Holmgren are both on their first contracts, so they think they got 1 more year, the 4-year thing, and a pick up the option on both of them. So they got those 2 guys for 2 years, but then they're going to have to pay them. I don't know how long SGA signed for, but right now they're 26th in the league in payroll and 11 million under the real cap, not
Wow.
the first apron or
Yep.
anything. So
Wow.
so they can do this again at least next year and maybe the one after that. But then I don't know. They should, I mean, you hear SGA talk, they seem it's. I mean, it's a backwater town by the standards of the NBA. I mean, I was hearing that most of the Hein was telling me most of the OKC guys just fly to Denver. I mean, drive to Denver, put their car in a lot, and drive off to places because they don't want to take flights out of Oklahoma City that they have to go through 2 towns to get to places. Somebody said that if
Wow.
Oklahoma City and Indianapolis play in the final, there's no direct flights between the 2 towns. There's not even a commuter plane.
One of the greatest questions I have in life is how do you move a franchise from Seattle, which
I
is
don't
just a
know.
great market,
Yep,
to
they're
OKC?
trying to. the guy that owned them got so far over his skis. He's from there, but the owners before him got so far over their skis, threatening that we had to get a new arena, that then he ended up selling to this clown. Well, I don't know why nobody in Seattle bought the team, but
I know.
it is unbelievable. And you know, Vancouver, they didn't give Vancouver a chance really.
No,
Like
I moved him to Memphis.
4 or 5 years and moved them to Memphis, for God's
I
sakes.
mean, at least go to Nashville. If you're
Yeah,
going to go to
right.
Tennessee,
That's
Nashville's a
right.
great city.
Yes, it is. It is. Everybody who rips Bettman, I say, he got Las Vegas and Seattle. They got Oklahoma
Yeah.
City and Memphis. Who did the best in the city thing? But it is a big change in the NBA, and I've mentioned this in the past. Used to be the big, Boston, Los Angeles. We, everybody. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when he left Milwaukee, wasn't going anywhere but L.A. And now they've, because of the first apron and the second apron and all that stuff, they've made, you know the only sport left now where there's a big advantage for big markets is baseball. That's
Right.
that's for sure. So anyway, yeah, I mean, now that you see balance in the NBA, it's pretty astounding, because for years that wasn't. I think the stat is, I looked it up once, Judd. Now there were fewer teams too when this first started happening, but I think the Lakers, in the 51 years that they were gone from here, were in the finals 25 times.
Wow.
Well, at representing, so half the time they represented the West. That don't happen. That doesn't happen anymore. So
Mm-mm. Parity for the first time in forever,
yes,
probably.
yes, really, that's true. That's true. I mean, you had the way teams popped up this year: Cleveland and Detroit. Where did they come from?
I know.
Cleveland, I had no idea that they were building this powerhouse. So
Speaking of baseball, our
yes,
Twins have dropped 2 consecutive games.
okay. I I I took my morning swim today, and I was contemplating. I wasn't in there too long because it's a little cold, but I was out there, and you know what? The Twins have a 90-win pitching staff and a 70-win lineup. So who's going to win? Even with Buxton back, they have a 70-win lineup, and if they get him back and playing like he did. So it's quite a struggle here to see where they're going to end up. You add it up, and they're maybe a 500 team. I think. The pitching's really good,
Yep.
and bullpen's good. Paddock's been good. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I know, and Zebby might have a chance. He might keep getting better, and they got Festa down there. He's pitched, so they got enough starters, and they got, and the bullpen's really good, but I don't know. The lineup is, terrible. This road trip is. Don't you have a bad feeling about it? Your Tampa's won 6 in a row. They're playing in that bandbox, and then you got to get in a plane and fly to Seattle,
Yeah.
and
And
then you
that's a
got to
tough
go
place
to,
to hit.
and then you got to go to Sacramento and play in some place you've never been before, and it is astounding. the if there was ever any question about the rotten leadership in baseball, it's that they're allowing this.
I know.
That they're allowing Tampa to play in a spring training ballpark that's outside, which means they have to convince the Twins to give away a home series this week to go to Tampa, so they don't get rained out when they go back there in July.
Yep.
And why do you think baseball stinks in Florida as far as creating any excitement whatsoever? I mean, Miami is awful. They got a new stadium. The Latin World Series,
Hmm.
Venezuela versus whoever,
Hmm.
had 40,000 people there screaming and hollering. They can't get 50 Cubans to show up for a baseball game. There's nobody there. Why does the Latin crowd not have an interest in Major League Baseball?
I have
It's
no idea. It's a
incredible.
good question. I do think the transplants are fans of like the Red Sox and Yankees and the Mets, and they don't
Yes,
care about
yes.
these teams.
Yeah,
But
and
I don't
then
know why. That's a good question. It's partially probably because baseball, because the baseball that they enjoy is a very different form where they're singing and all this,
yeah,
and the big leagues
no.
don't really
And
have that. But yeah,
yeah,
it's a
and
I
I
don't
mean
know.
Tampa's, like they that was everybody thought, the White Sox almost went there. We were flirting with them.
Yeah.
Didn't anybody go look at this dump before they went down there? It
Well,
was
they
like,
built it for what? The Giants originally? Like the Giants were going to
yeah,
move
yeah, the
to
Giants were
Tampa.
going to move there. I know one thing. If I am going to move to a dome stadium in Tampa, I don't want a home run hitting something and falling down.
No.
At least in the Metrodome, we had like 5 balls a year hit the roof, and they weren't
Right.
home runs. I mean,
Because
who
we didn't have
thought that?
catwalks.
Yes, yeah,
These idiots put catwalks up
yes,
there.
yeah. Who thought that this was going to be a
Who
decent
said, we need
stadium?
catwalks?
Yeah. So now, they're going to end up. I think they're the people talk about baseball expansion. There's no baseball expansion until they get their own
Well,
house in order, right?
yeah.
Yeah, you got to get you got to get Tampa taken care of. The A's in Las Vegas is still a thought.
Right.
They've torn down the hotel, but who knows? And then there's other franchises in trouble too. So I think that it's good. It's baseball. You're not going to get any. They, I would think Tampa would love to have Nashville build them a ballpark, but I don't know if that Nashville has any interest or not. They got football and hockey, and
We still
what?
talking about Montreal, or is the Canadian dollar
I
bad
think
enough to where?
you don't hear that one anymore. I don't know. They
No.
were going to split They've come up with like 20 ideas. The
We're going
one
to
they were
split
going
the
to
schedule is my favorite.
split the schedule. Yeah, you're going to play in Montreal in the middle of the year, and yeah, that's going to make everybody happy.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine a player's tax form off that?
Oh, yeah, right.
Pay
That's
half
right.
Canadian taxes, pay half your taxes. Well, there's no state. I mean, it's ridiculous. You're right.
Mhm.
They got to
Mhm.
get this. And
I
the
get.
Sacramento thing's supposed to last for 3 years, Pat.
Yeah, I know. And they better put a shovel in the ground here if you're going to be there in 3 years. I mean, they got a idiot owner, and I don't know. Un, they're a mess, that's for sure. But anyway, hey, I got a question. I'm very worried about the PWHL. Even though our team is the champions for the second straight
Back
year,
to
why
back
don't they
champ.
score any goals? Every 4 games, they all go to overtime so somebody can get to two. Why can't we get to two sometimes during during the 3 periods? Huh?
Goaltending's too good, Pat. The
Yeah, I
goaltending's
know.
too good.
We got Ken Dryden playing for both teams. Nobody can get a goal past
It's
him. They got
It's Tony O against Ken Dryden. That's what it is.
And I love these people that go over there and it's magnificent hockey. Well, they got to let it. They have to. Now I'm saying this having never watched a game. I watched like 8 minutes once on TV, but I don't think they can have. I think they got to take the hitting out of it because they don't score any goals. You know, the college game they let them bang into each other
Right.
anyway.
Right.
But the fact that you got legal checky hitting, there's got to be some reason they never score, right? I think
I don't watch
I,
enough to know why, but I'm sure there
the
is.
4 games 2-1
Yeah.
overtime. The other day, Cassidy from our paper, who's a big Frosty fan, was sitting next to me at the day game, and I keep turning him out. This is Saturday. You know, looked like they were going to end at the same time as the Wolves, and they started 3 hours earlier.
Yeah.
They were I don't know. But hey, we are the champions, so
But the expansion draft is going to be hell for the existing teams. Starting out, you can only protect, I guess, 3 players.
what?
Yeah, there's so, and then as you lose players, you can pull them back. But the expansion teams, which,
Three?
yeah, like 3 players.
So what if you're a gopher who is only basically playing in the league because you want to
Well, you better be
be in?
protected.
What?
Like
Three
they'll protect
players?
Heisey. She'll be
Or-
protected.
Yes. So where are they? Oh, they're going to Vancouver and Seattle, right?
Yep,
Isn't that
Vancouver
what
and
I saw?
Seattle, and we want them to be good, which I sort of get. So they're going to give them. They're going to make sure they're good.
And so, kind of like we did with the Golden Knights, we gave them a championship team because we wanted that 500 million or whatever it
Only
was.
this is going to be better because it's going to be. I mean, the Frost will protect Heisey. They'll protect who else? A couple of other their star players, but there's going to be a lot of people out there.
I never saw that. That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. We build this championship roster, and what if they take our goalie away from ours? Is there
Well, then
another?
it's
Is there another Ken Dryden Jr. out there? I don't
have
know.
to find another one. Then I guess I don't know.
That's right. Well, anyway, it was how we rating this season? Last year was a success because we hadn't done that before with the Timberwolves.
Oh,
But
the Wolves.
yeah, what are we rating it? It's about what we expected, maybe.
But the regular season was so weird. That's the thing is, I mean, the end result is actually to me surprising because their season was
Hmm.
so up and down. But
Hmm.
yeah, probably. Like I'm not disappointed.
No, no, I'm not.
I
Not.
mean, you
I'm
made the
not
Western
either.
Conference Finals.
I'm not. I'm not either. But I do think, you know, yeah, you probably it would have. I mean, a Knicks
Oh
Wolves column
well,
a final would have been one of the great events in history just because of the cat situation. How about the cat man? By the way, he gets you 4 points in 3 quarters. Your season's over. Then he makes all the threes and gets 20. I don't get it. So
unbelievable game. That
yeah,
was the craziest game.
yeah. But I would imagine Indiana will approach blowing that game just like Oklahoma City did. They'll just show up
Well, the Knicks had
as
blown the
you say.
first game.
Yeah, as
Something
you say.
fierce.
I think I think when you look at Tibbs' career and you want to summarize it in 3 seconds, show that shot that Halliburton made. The ball went like 12 feet up in the air and came back down through the
Bounced,
basket.
came back.
It went up. Can you imagine Tibbs looking up at that and having it come down? Because I like Tibbs because he's nuts. He's nuts, and he's all you cut his head open, basketballs that come flying out. And to have that happen to him in that situation, because they had that game won,
Yeah. Oh, they were. Yeah.
and even after kicking it away 2, 3 times, they finally had it won, and the ball goes
Yeah.
boing up in the air. It was hilarious.
And game three, the Pacers were up by 20. So yeah,
Yeah,
these
yeah, it's
playoffs
been
have been
weird.
nuts.
Yeah, when the 3-point shot went from being shot 15 times a game to now 40,
Yeah.
it's a completely different game. And it's fun, but it's also turned into a wrestling match too. So I don't know. It's a completely different game. But
No.
anyway, it'll be you know it should be all over by Wednesday. I kind of like these series that go 2-2-2-2. Instead of the NBA giving you three,
What
four
happened?
days off. I think it's the once they get down to 4 teams, they don't have to, worry about conflicting with each other. So
I guess this has been fantastic. Hey, before we get done, sell me a car, please.
I would love to. Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. You need an SUV for the family. You Whatever size you want, they have it at Buick. If you've been watching sports, the Buick ads is showing you a lot of these SUVs. They're fantastic looking vehicles at Jim Paul and Brett Paul's out Apple Valley Group of GM dealers. They have low interest rates right now. They have factory rebates. They have incredible inventory. They'll make you a deal. It'll be easy. They got great people out there to help you with the finances. I've dealt with them 4 or 5 times. They'll make it happen for you. Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers, Apple Valley. That's where you get your new SUV. You can get any size you want. Depends upon how much hockey equipment the kids have, on what size you're going to buy to put in the back seat, in the back of the SUV. But Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers, and I'm still driving the Cascade from 2019, and it's
Wow.
operating fantastically. Jim Paul, Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers, go out there and check out the inventory. Go on the website and you can look at the inventory. It's fantastic.
Beautiful. Talk to you tomorrow, actually.
Okay, sir.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Patrick. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.